Hey everyone, Hamish here. Now, before we jump into all the updates, I just want to start with a massive thank you. I mean, it's only been a month since Fellowship launched into early access, and this community has absolutely blown us away. Really. Your support, your passion, your feedback, it's shaped so much of what the game already is and all of the changes and improvements that'll be coming. Now, in today's video, we'll start with a bunch of important info, and then we've got a nice long interview with Axel, our game director. So let's take a quick look back at what's happened since launch, because it's been huge. It turns out that peak concurrent player numbers have been far beyond what we expected for month one, and that's actually meant that 7.2 million hours have been played, which is 833 years. That's crazy. So more than 9 million dungeons have also been cleared, with the top three most popular being Sailor's Abyss, Godfall Quarry, and Wormheart. You'd probably also think that Heart of Tazari might show up in that list because of all the farming, but it's actually not even close. And last but not least, there's actually been more than 49 million player deaths. So sad. It's been incredible to see that so many of you have been streaming Fellowship almost non-stop. We've seen guides popping up everywhere, from full hero builds to dungeon breakdowns. We've also seen posts and clips across Reddit, Twitter, Discord, TikTok, you name it. Heaps of press coverage too, actually. The excitement around our game has been unreal, and we're stoked that all of you watching this right now have been a part of that. And honestly, one of the coolest things about early access is seeing how quickly our game has evolved because of your feedback. From performance improvements to UI updates, balance, so much of what you see in Fellowship today came directly from you. Alright, so first up, Eternal Queue. That just has to be number one today. Now, this has been one of the most frustrating pain points for players and for us, to be fair. We actually never intended this to be the case for Fellowship in early access, but since Eternal was one of the last things that came into the game, the matchmaking just simply wasn't ready yet. The good news, the team is actually working on this right now and should have a solution very soon. We've got a big patch coming up around December 11th, but if it's ready before then, we'll absolutely put it in, because we know how important it is. We just want people to be able to play the game the way that we want as soon as they can. Now, just like we did with the buff tracker, this implementation will be our version 1. So just to make sure that we have something that works. And once we've got that in, we'll be continuing to develop Eternal matchmaking until it's exactly the way that we want it. This is a big one, and that's why we've put this right up there in our priority list as well. And actually some good news, this should actually be fixed in today's patch, and we can't wait to see just how much friction this removes from the in-game communication experience. We've got a lot of work to do on the social interaction options that are available in Fellowship, so you can expect a lot of progress on these systems very soon as we focus down on all of those things. We've got a lot of big things coming for Fellowship, but like I said at the top of the video, I wanted to get you as much information as quickly and concisely as possible. Now, you'll have noticed that there's a lot of extra content in this video for you to watch. For those of you that like this kind of thing, I actually recorded an interview with Axel, our game director, a few days ago, and it's basically an unedited podcast where we reveal a bunch of cool new stuff coming to the game. We talk about the upcoming holiday event, pre-season reset details, new heroes, social and communication tools, matchmaking, queues, improvements to systems and progression, cosmetics, account flair, onboarding, and new player experience. It's a lot. So grab a cup of tea and enjoy. It's a pretty interesting time because we're coming into December, holiday season. I hear that there's going to be some content in game. I mean, spoilers, we did the Halloween stuff. Maybe there's some other stuff happening in December that'll be cool. Originally, I'd kind of said to people we were targeting maybe doing a reset in mid-December if the content meant that it would make sense. We've said now that that will come a little bit later, and that will kind of be our big content patch with the reset and that sort of thing. Can you give any clarity on what that timeline might look like? And then I'd love to dive into what some certain things we could expect from that as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. There was a time. So initially, this was leading up to early access launch. We had an ambitious plan to get something new and exciting ready for the holidays. And our plan was that with that we would also do our very first reset. Um, and we need a little bit more time to cook on this feature that we're working on. Very excited to share more with you on that as we get a little bit further along on it. Uh, but yeah, so we decided to wait with the reset. Q1, I can say for sure. There's exciting stuff coming, and it will come with a reset. Yeah.
Okay, so we can confirm that there will be some kind of fun holiday event happening in December.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
Cool.
yes. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. In addition to that, so that was talking about like what happened with resets. And like you said, you mentioned that we were aiming for a reset in December, and then that got pushed out to Q1. And it has, like I said, it's just we want to make sure we're making cool stuff, and we weren't ready. However, regardless of the reset, yes, we have some interesting stuff coming for the holiday, for the holidays, which we are currently working on. That will not come with a reset. However, we have some stuff planned that is going to have an effect across the board, and will be interesting for you guys to explore, I think, during the holidays as well.
Yeah, some cool activities, and also some, obviously, some cool cosmetics that are coming as well. I've
Yes.
started seeing a few of those things coming in, and it looks very, very cool. All right, so you were a little bit non-specific about stuff that would be happening in in Q1's reset. Again, we don't have a date for that, but, you know, as soon as we know, we will let people know. Let's kind of go through what we can say at this point. Actually, one of the things that I have kind of on my list of things to talk about, we know that a lot of people have been asking when that reset happens. Let's just talk about the details about what people can understand with what a reset means. So, in your mind, what are the main things people should look out for?
Very high level, very simply put, a reset is a chance to come in fresh and do the kind of race again. It is a very good moment for new players joining in to kind of catch up and be a part of that initial kind of experience that you guys had in October. And what's going to happen with the reset, to get into more details, we will then be, I mean, the simple version is just we're going to reset everything that is not earned cosmetics. So that is the high level. So if you've unlocked any mounts, if you've bought mounts for gold or supplies at the mount vendor, any skins you've unlocked or bought, all of that you're going to keep past the reset. That is persistent. Everything else goes.
Okay.
That's the simple version.
That's good to know. All right, so that's exactly what I've been telling people as well. I've also been talking about, I know you and I have talked about this a lot, that being able to do those resets, especially on, you know, people have been saying, oh, you know, can I keep my talents and abilities on these heroes and that sort of thing? And we know that, like, while that is a quick process to unlock, you know, some people might wonder why we're doing those level of resets as well. On the design side, you'd mentioned to me before that it gives us a lot more flexibility to be able to do massive overhauls. You know, we could rip out, you know, half a skill tree and put something else in. Is that still kind of the flexibility that the team are wanting to have?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot more complex to approach it. Otherwise, it's possible. I think there are other things too. There. I mean, I think uh, there's, like I said, like resets for new players definitely, but also for anyone. Resets are a opportunity to kind of join in the fray as it takes off. And like I was saying, like we want to have interesting new content coming in when we're doing resets as well. So there is fresh stuff to kind of explore and figure out. And heroes, dungeons, curses. There's so many things we could potentially be adding in every season. And so the reset is a very healthy way for a game like this to kind of just set the foundation back to where everyone's coming in fresh and everyone's unlocking abilities and talents and getting a hang of how to play that character. Some people who played in a previous season are going to be, or before the reset, are potentially going to be playing new heroes. So making sure that people aren't kind of getting out of pace with each other. This is, I would say, definitely where we want to start. For sure.
Great. Kind of not ready to confirm all of these things just yet, but you say new content coming with a reset, right? Our intent is to make those resets line up with things that are big enough to warrant doing a reset. New heroes, are there any that you feel are close? I know we're not going to reveal any kind of heroes today. Well, you know what we can do. We'll talk about it, and then I'll edit it to a point that I'm comfortable. So if we're well, not if there will be a new hero coming in the next reset, correct?
Yes, yes.
What is it?
So the way that I think I've mentioned this before, but I think it's good to go through again. Like our philosophy and how we work with the fellowship is that we want to be able to kind of move with the flow. That's something we've done for the entire project. It's been something that we've seen allows us to um, execute well when we kind of wrap stuff up whenever we're doing something new. So the way we approach heroes is we are actively always working on several heroes on parallel. So prototyping, ideation, exploring kind of their feel and fantasy, exploring their VFX, exploring their rotations, talents, all kinds of stuff. So we're always working on multiple heroes at once, and what happens is that somewhere along that road, uh, something's gonna kind of just start clicking, and then we dive in, double down, and wrap that one up. So this is a similar situation. I mean, I can say that we are we are right now prototyping a tank and a healer.
Sure.
And so far both are going fairly well. But like I said, at some point we're gonna double down on the one that we feel the most confident on, to make sure that it has a cool experience for all you guys when it's ready.
Great. So to be clear, we've got a tank of some sort. We've got a healer of some sort. Could you give one little nugget, not about their like kind of creative fantasy, but just something unique about where they sit mechanically that might make it interesting to people and so they are intrigued to come and check it out when the reset happens? What's the
For sure.
what's the flavor of the tank?
So once again, this is subject to change because
Yes,
we
of
go with
course.
the flow. What we have, our starting point at least, that is that for the tank, we are exploring what we call a support tank. So this is a tank that has tools in their kit that allows them to help out other party members as well. So I would say a bit of a different take than uh, both Mako and Helen, I would say. They have support utility in there as well. But I would say the way we are approaching this hero, we believe that this new tank compared to Mako and Helena is probably going to be the comparison is going to be you don't have the same degree of control as you do with Helena and Mako, but you have more ways to support the team or individual members when needed.
Okay.
Is that vague enough?
Kind of. Can I say that he also has a sword? Can I say that?
He does have a sword.
Okay.
Yes. And I mean, we already got a shield tech, so we said, let's slap a big two-handed sword on this one.
Cool. Let's leave
Yeah.
it there there for that one. That's cool. Also, I know that there's been some things floating around in the community with one kind of very, very early prototype we had for a hero. This is not that one. This is not Gunde. This is not uh, two-handed axes. Um, Originally, it's full transparency, we were testing that out as a tank. It's like you said on the things that we were trying out. It's on the back burner. Gunde will probably come back in some form, maybe as a DPS or something. You know, if it makes sense.
We're exploring that. Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's a really good example of how our process can work. We were working on a tank, um, like a bit more edgy. At that time, it was like ravens and blood and all kind of stuff like that, and didn't feel like the tank mechanics that we were exploring there didn't. It was fine, but it didn't kind of hit the nail on the head.
Mhm.
And at the same time, yeah, there was a very clear slot that we saw for DPS, with a character of that thematic, and we got very excited. I mean, that's a big part of it too. Like,
Mhm.
someone says, "What would happen if this was a DPS?" And it's like, "Oh," and everyone's like, if everyone's jamming on that, then it's like, we probably should pivot on this, which is exactly actually what happened with Mako
I was gonna say, yeah.
back in the day. Because Mako started out as a DPS, and somewhere along the line, someone said, "It'd be really cool to play with these mechanics, but you're tanking," and we
Yeah.
jammed, and yeah.
Very cool. All right, so same kind of brief for the healer. Um, what's she do? What's her vibe?
Yeah, she's a bit different. And you'll probably see a theme that we're kind of running with here. So when we look at the tank, we'll look at the tanks we currently have, and we want to find something that feels different from that contrasts. We're doing the same thing with the healer. So she is a bit different. Um, she how do I talk about her? She will have hmm She will have ways to deal with incoming damage to the group that kinda slows things down, uh, but her weakness on the flip side is gonna be that she doesn't have as reliable a kit to kinda just, fill everyone's health bars, pop a cooldown and everything's fine. So she's gonna be more work to manage incoming damage, but her strength is that it's she slows things down a bit.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
I've kind of said, like temporal manipulation, magics, those sorts of things
Yes.
could be interesting to look at.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
if you were to say difficulty rating of each of those, the tank on a star level, where do you feel like it kind of sits in the menu?
Oh, that's so hard to say.
Yeah.
Right now,
Early.
it's a little bit early, I think. Yeah, I think the tank is probably in the region of Helena to begin with, but I think on as you get higher with this tank, there is more opportunities for you to optimize what you could be doing. So I think the choices can, uh, I should say, at least that's what we're going for. Like, you're gonna have choices that you can make that kind of gives a new texture to tanking, but I don't think that's gonna be really necessary until you're kind of min-maxing, and at first, it's gonna be pretty manageable. I'd say around Helena, but a bigger variation perhaps. Um, The healer, I think, is gonna be we're just kind of testing some initial balancing testing on her. I think she's gonna be a little bit tricky, or challenging, I should say. I think she's gonna be challenging with a high payoff. I mean, as is usually the case with because the way her mechanics works, I mean, I think it's gonna be important that you have a pretty good idea of when damage is coming in and how much, and that you do have a plan which is similar to, well, Sylvie for sure, to some degree for Vigor as well. I think it's gonna be more noticeable with this healer. I think there's gonna be a very big payoff when you are kind of able to, um, set your stuff up in a way, anticipate that kind of damage and set your rotation up for it.
Cool.
A little bit trickier, I think she'll be.
Nice. All right. So obviously we're in early access. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. We have the stuff happening in December. We've got, let's call it a pre-season reset happening early next year. Um, the reason we're not calling it a season is because season 1 is going to drop when we get to the 1.0 launch of Fellowship. But that means that what we're doing now, we really do want to test out how that might work. In that preseason reset that we have in Q1, what are some of the other things that you would like to see on offer for players? Um, I know there's been talk about some potential upgrades to like in-game communication amongst players, social tools, and that sort of thing. Do you think that's something that could line up with that Q1 release?
Yes, I think so. I mean, that's also one of those things that honestly is just as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I think, uh, I think we hear, that feedback very loud and clearly where, we've got a, um once you are in a dungeon, people are having fun. There's still work to do there too, but great. One of the big things is finding the people that you wanna hang out with, that you wanna play with, getting access to them. So anything within the kinda social tools realm, improving friends list, new features adding to the ability to, uh yeah, social tools, basically. Um, it's like I said, it's very high on our priority. It is something we're currently working on, and as soon as possible, I can confidently say, yeah, for that Q1, for sure. Yeah.
Great. Anything else in there? And just go through the list of things that might happen, and I will censor anything that we're not comfortable sharing. What else would you like to see um, in that drop?
Uh, there's a lot of things that we have. Uh, we talk about a lot of things that we could be doing with the game as well. We haven't quite gotten started on yet. But that I am really excited about. I think that we will start to see those things happen to some, degree, um, between now and Q1 for sure. Things like adding more, traits to weapons. Um, I mean, definitely we will at some point get to a place where we wanna add more legendary choices for heroes. We know that there are heroes that have certain builds that don't necessarily have a very clear legendary, that synergizes with that specific build. That's something we talk about. There's more things to explore with how the gem system work. Uh, Generally, we're happy with the gem system on a high level in that it is an end game system. There is a bit of a farm to it. That was the intention that we set out with. But there are some pain points, and we're hearing feedback there as well on like how much time it would take to do that on an alt and, kind of max out your gems and, how the power relevance is right now between the gems and the set bonuses as you get into the later stages of the game. Um, and on that note, adding new set bonuses, we get suggestions sometimes that are very, very cool. So that gets us excited. Curses. Very, very happy to have heard so much positive feedback generally from you guys around curses and how we have been approaching curses. I know we have a couple of curses that didn't quite hit the mark. Malevolent Shade, one of them. um, that's also something we're very excited to get to. Um, yeah, and then at the same time, like we want to get new heroes done.
Mhm.
You know, we're getting to work on new exciting adventures for you guys to
Mhm.
explore at some point. So I mean, we're really in a situation now where there's so much cool stuff that we want to do, and we are doing our best to make sure that we're prioritizing the right things. And like I said, right now at this moment, social tools is social tools, eternal queuing,
Mhm.
improvements to matchmaking. All these things are very high on that list.
Awesome. I remember when I was in the office last time, I saw also some cool things being worked on. Although I don't know what the timeline for these sorts of things are, but like titles and that sort of stuff that people could potentially unlock
Yep.
and
Yep.
various account flair. Is that something I
Yes.
have no idea of the timing of these sorts of things, but are those still coming through the pipes?
Uh, we're exploring it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't give you a date on it, but we're definitely we're exploring it. We have some very cool ideas there too.
Mhm.
Things like it's visually noticeable if you inspect someone, what kind of things you've achieved within the game, ways to express yourself. I mean, through the leaderboards.
Mhm.
There's a lot of stuff there too that yeah, we wanna work on. Um,
And also like
and more things like the trim system. Like the trim
yeah.
system is great. Well, my take is the trim system is great in that what we really wanted to do with the trim system is we wanted to show players that this is another track of rewards and things to work for that we will continue to expand on and explore as we continue developing the game. Um, so the trims are kind of just the very first step, the kind of, hey, this is also something that is going to be existing in this game. And that's another track of all of these kind of cool ways to uh, collect, cosmetically, any kind of way to show what you've been doing each season as we get into full launch later on.
Awesome. I also saw that there might be new dancers coming, which is which is very cool.
Yes.
So some previews of those.
No spoilers.
Very important. Um, cool.
Yes.
All right. So I mean, yeah, we're still. This is the thing we've talked about. Like we've said that early access is running, you know, for an amount of time. We'd kind of said like 6 months, and then we'll get into the full release. But we've had a huge disclaimer on that at all times. Like it really depends on community feedback. Um, we're going into 2026. Uh, there's a lot to do, and we'll be talking to people about everything that we're doing. What are your big goals of things that you would personally like to get into Fellowship before we even consider looking at a full release date? What's high on your wish list?
Um, I think, I mean, adding more heroes is very high. I think that's, um, there's so much to explore in the genre that Fellowship is, um, and what can be done when we are doing heroes. And, like, eventually, I mean, for sure, before we get to 1.0, I would like us to have done a few of the crazier heroes. We haven't gotten to that yet. Um, so I think that's a big one for me. But generally, just expanding on the hero roster, I think, is very exciting. Um, I think also uh, continuing to work on all our kind of various reward structures. Um, I think, well, we were just talking about a few of those, like, potentially things like changing the look of your kind of frames when you're inspected, stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of other stuff within that realm that um, I would like us to have kind of expanded upon quite a bit. Of course, once again, because I think it's kind of at the heart of what this game is. It's a co-op game, so all these social tools, we're working on a bunch now, that uh, and that is going to be a continuous thing that we are going to keep expanding on. And I think there is some kind of critical mass of ease of access and ability to kind of manage your social network and all that stuff within the game that is going to be needed before I would say that we are at a 1.0 state. And then I think is building out our catalog of dungeons, curses, kind of what I was mentioning before, um, adding uh, adding to the systems that we have.
Mhm.
I think for me, at least, looking at it now, I think that is definitely the first part of it, in regards to, like, progression systems. Um, wha like, adding completely new layers, is not something that we're gonna be doing, at least initially, because there is a lot of opportunity within the systems that we have, and we have a few. And I think I'd rather make improvements until those systems feel kind of right on target, before we start kind of adding to complexity there. Um, yeah. What about you, Hamish?
Oh, ooh, I I feel so happy to answer this question. I mean, obviously, I'd love to see more dungeons, more heroes, all that sort of stuff. 100%. I think one of the big things that we have a lot of progress to be made on, and I think it's going to make a lot of difference to players jumping into the game for the first time, is that like kind of onboarding, smoothing out the way that we communicate what's happening in the game to them, why things are you know, aspirational or why things are difficult. So, for example, right now, I mentioned to you actually the other day. Um, I think one of the things we have in the UI right now, when you have the three options pop up if you're solo queuing, I don't think people understand why a six is more difficult than a four, or how much more difficult it is. I don't
Mhm.
think that that's being communicated. Um, it doesn't look scary. You're like, okay, there's extra loot. I'll go do that. So there's, I think, a lot of, um, yeah, just kind of in-game communication that obviously we can improve. I think the social tools will go a long way to helping people find their people, and I think that's going to also be part of the onboarding puzzle. Um, so if I'm a new player and I can be connected with other new players, awesome. I think that's gonna make a huge difference. So yeah, that part of the experience I think is going to be really exciting to see how we can improve it there as well. Because, like you say, once people are in and playing the game, um, provided they're playing with people who have similar goals, everyone's having a great time. So if we can line that up better, I think we'll be in a really, really, really good spot.
Nice. That's the alarm. I have to turn it off.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to our players before we wrap up and you head to bed and I start my day?
Anything I want to say? Well, thank you. First of all, it's been so awesome. Um, and honestly, for me personally, I've not kind of celebrated um, the goals that we have hit with fellowship, because I'm still so very excited to keep working on fellowship. So it's kind of like just diving right in.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just such a fun game to work on, and such a great community. So I mean, definitely thank you for having been having joined us on this adventure, and thanks for all the feedback. It really does matter. We are definitely listening. Sometimes we're not able to act quite as swiftly as we would want, for sure. But know that we take your pain points very seriously, and we are working on addressing those. Yeah, and otherwise, just keep blasting. Have fun in there.
No, it's good. I mean, like you said, it's been so busy. Johan, one of the COO over there, who's also in charge of all the UI and doing all those things. He messaged me. He's like, "Hey, do you wanna fly over for the launch party?" I was like, "It's way too busy. Like, like we've got to make this game. I can't be flying anywhere. I've got way too much to do." But it's honestly been so much fun. I love this part of making games. It's so cool listening to all our players and getting stuff in. And like you said, like some things, um, we'd love to be able to get them in, like that. And to be fair, you guys have done a great job of getting a lot of things in really, really quickly, but some things are just inherently very, very complicated and they take, that much longer and these sorts of things. But it's so fun. I can't wait to see where we get to in 2026. And yeah, lots of cool things on the way.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Okay, I know that was kind of long and I hope you enjoyed it, but if you do like these kind of longer form discussions, just let me know in the comments. Maybe there's a kind of proper official podcast format that we could work on for the future. Again, I just wanted to say thank you for an incredible first month of early access. This really is just the beginning, and it already feels like we're building something truly special with Fellowship. A game that's shaped by its players week after week, and that's the absolute dream, at least for me. If you want to stay up to date with everything that we're working on, make sure you're following our official channels. We've got Twitter, Discord, TikTok, Steam, all of it, and keep sharing your feedback. It genuinely helps us prioritize what comes next, and hopefully you'll see your feedback in future builds. All right, thanks again, and we'll see you in the Stronghold. Bye.